Hello guys and welcome back to Brooksburk Zoo. I had to think about for 1 minute if we are at Brooksburk Zoo or in Litchfield Zoo. Yeah, in the last episode we built the house and 2 habitats for our okapis, and we are going to have a look at them. And here you can already see one of them is using the stable, and I'm very happy with that because yeah, you can find this whole building on the workshop. I uploaded it to the Steam workshop. You can use it for nearly every single species of the ungulates. Just not the camel, I think, and for sure not the giraffe, but all the smaller antelopes, and also the Przewalski horse might be okay with it, and the zebra. And yeah, just try out what species could fit in there. You can also use this for 2 different species as well, so you don't have to do 2 habitats for one and the same species like I did here for the okapis. Yeah, but let's check into what we are going to build today. So we are going to build in this space right here, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to have something for a carnivore. And what carnivore do we want to build right here? I thought in this area that is not on the main course on the main track of our zoo, the animal that would fit best in here might be the African wild dog, or the African painted dog, how it is called as well. Yeah, it is also a species that I don't see that much built in Planet Zoo from creators, and yeah, that is also why I thought let's build something for them here. These are very incredible animals, so I really enjoyed building something for them, and I also wanted to get into realism like we did in the last episode. So first of all, I started to lay down the groundwork for our building, and I wanted to have something like a staff area. So this is something that I assigned from the beginning on. So I planned with having this big staff area in the background. I was googling up and down for some inspiration on wild dog habitats. I didn't find that much on actual habitats, but I found pictures of an indoor area for those animals, which inspired me very much for building this right here with those Australian wooden planks in there to cover some parts of the wall. So that's what I did in here. I also wanted to have 2 indoor habitats because, you know, in a sense of realism, there might be some animals some animals in the group, because African wild dogs live in huge packs, around 7 to 15 animals at least. There's also groups that can be bigger than that. It might be the case when you have an animal that is sick, for example, or you have some animals that are not okay with the group, or the group doesn't accept. You want to separate them. So I wanted to have 2 separate indoor habitats so you could actually separate those animals from each other. So that's what we are going to do right here. Yeah, also you might have noticed some differences. If you're not watching my German videos already, you might notice that I sound a little bit different. Yeah, because let's be honest, it took me 1.5 years to change my microphone and to not sound that, I don't want to say awful, because I'm pretty sure I didn't sound awful, but the sound quality wasn't the best. So I changed the microphone. I'm using a headset right now. It makes things a little bit easier, and you can hopefully understand me a little bit clearer. And we do also have some sound in the background, which means that I don't have to talk through the whole episodes in the future, so that you can have a little break from me always talking and just listen to the music and chill a little bit. And I hope you guys do enjoy it. Let me know in the comment section what you think about it. If you enjoy watching my videos more now that the sound quality is better, or you don't see any difference. Here I tried to, no, I didn't try, I actually did install some gates for our animals. We will also have something for those in the backstage area later on, because I wanted it to at least look as if they were fully functional. So as you can see in many zoos in the backstage areas, there's always some mechanism outside the animal enclosure where the keepers can open or close the gates. I wanted to have something like this mechanism in here as well, so I built something later, and you might see in a few minutes when we are going to build the backstage area. But first of all, we're going to have the indoor section here ready for our animals. And you might also notice that those gates might be a little bit too small for our keepers to actually walk through. So that is why I decided to have the keeper's entrance on the left indoor habitat, and changing the gate for the animals later on and putting it a little bit higher so that our keeper can walk through that, so that our keepers can actually go into the outside habitat as well. The next thing that I built in here, indoor areas for animals are most of the time very clean and with not much stuff in here. So you usually won't see any plants in there, or rocks or some kind of that stuff. So what I built in here is something that I also saw in these photos from the indoor enclosure from the African wild dogs in that zoo. They had something like bedding and a little bit of a shelter that also might be usable for the animals when they get offspring, so that they can hide in there a little bit and just chill and relax. So that is something that I built in here. I noticed that it was a little bit too high, because I think it was about 1.5 meters high, so I lowered it a little bit into the ground later on and put some of the hay bedding in there. Yeah, here I was thinking about having another one in there, because the right indoor enclosure is a little bit bigger than the left one, and I thought it might be nice when we have another one in there, but it just didn't fit, and I didn't want the indoor indoor enclosure to be this cramped full of stuff, and so I decided one on each side would be enough. I also was thinking about, for in case of realism, you would have something like a feeding platform or a water platform in there for the animals, so they can drink something or have some food in there. But as I said, that the gate on the right side of the enclosure is a little bit too small, so our keepers won't be able to go in there, I decided to not have something like feeding or drink station in there. So here I was preparing the front side of the building because we wanted our visitors to be able to look into the house. I didn't want to have another walkthrough house, and you're definitely not going to see this kind of build in everything that I'm building for this zoo. So if we go on with building something for our next animals, which I also do have a plan in my head which animal I want to have in next, you won't probably see something like an indoor enclosure that our guests can go into or view from the outside. So as I said, this is something that is not going to happen all of the time, but I think it would be nice, especially when you have a zoo like we do have here in moderate climate or temperate climate. So in Europe, let's say in Europe, in Middle Europe or Northern Europe, you might not be able to see the animals all around the year in their habitats, and so it would be great if you actually have the chance to see those animals in the indoor enclosure when it snows outside or it is rainy or cold or the weather conditions are not that great. So here is what I was talking about. I wanted to have this mechanism where you can open and close the gates from the keeper area, so from our backstage area right here. So I built something like this with those chains that we got. I think it was from the Europe DLC. Yeah, I think it was from the Europe DLC. And yeah, as I said, build something like a mechanism that our keepers could use to open and close the gates while they are in the inside. I also chose to build those doors with the windows because our keepers should be able to look into the habitat before they go in there, especially when they are working in a carnivore habitat or enclosure. They might be sure that the animals are off the exhibit so that they can enter the habitat without taking any risk of getting hurt. And not just of getting hurt, but also that the animals won't escape. In a later stage, here you can see I put down those signs with gate open and gate closed, and with the markers where you can see if the gate is open or the gate is actually closed. In a later stage I will be able to put these signs into the wall because I knew it was those silver plates that you can stick into the wall so that you can actually only see the writing. I couldn't manage it at the moment that I was putting those signs on the wall, but in a later stage I was able to, and I think you can see it later on when we're taking a tour, when everything is finished and we're also going into the backstage area. You might be able to see that I managed this, and it actually looks a lot better then. Yeah, here I was doing some stuff for the backstage area. I also wanted to have these markers on the floor. I think they don't make that much sense right here because you actually see those markers around habitats for big cats, for bears or something like that, when you have something like a chain link fence or something, so that the keepers don't go too close to the animals or to the fence, because the animals could reach through that with their paws and claws. So doesn't make that much sense right here because you have a door in there, but I thought it would look pretty nice. That's why I did that. Yeah, here you can see I put down some shelves and some boxes. Nothing in those boxes because I didn't want to put any vegetables or something in there because this didn't make that much sense. those wild dogs won't eat cauliflower or carrots, potatoes or something like that, so I didn't put anything in there. Yeah, and that is pretty much the backstage area. I just built something because you know those transportation boxes for the animals when they leave the zoo or when they arrive from another zoo, or we get an import from Africa or whatever. They will arrive in those wooden boxes. So I wanted to have something like this in here. And as we don't have those boxes in the game, I thought I'd build something for myself. And I don't know if I said it already, but I'm planning to put this building on the workshop as well, so you can download it for yourself as well as the Okapi house and use it in your own zoos. Build your own habitat around it, use it for any carnivore you might like. And this might also be suitable for any big cats or smaller cats. Maybe the caracal, that is a beautiful animal that I didn't build anything yet. Yeah, use it for whatever animal you like. I will put down the link in the video description so you can go to the Steam Workshop. Give me a thumbs up, download it, and also do comment on it if you like it. Yeah, I also did notice a little gap in the videos. Usually the first episode of a new zoo is always something that works pretty fine. Everything is interested in a new series, and from the second episode on, the views go a little bit down. So that is something that I experienced also with Brooksburk Zoo. No problem with that at all. But yeah. At the moment when I'm recording the voiceover for this video, I just don't know how well you received the last episode with the Okapis. So the thing I want to remind you is, if you like my videos, don't forget to hit the like button, because that will help me a lot, and that will make it possible for other viewers as well which don't know me yet to find my videos, have a look at it, and help my channel to grow, and also help me to provide you with those new videos from time to time. So yeah, if you don't mind, just leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel so my channel can grow. Okay, so I decided to put those boxes outside of the enclosure, that I have a little bit more space to work on it. And then I finished it, just putting some of those don't touch signs on the sides of the box, and then the whole thing is finished. I'm going to have a second one in there, one that is half open that I put down right here, and I put in a second one that is actually closed. Yeah, the next thing was I was going to build something like a holding pen on the outside. That is also something that you will see in zoos when they have A, to separate an animal from the whole group, or B, if you want to clean the inside of the enclosure. And also, yeah, you have to work on the outside, or the outside enclosure is not prepared for the animals to be in there, so that you can actually, yeah, let the dogs out. Who let the dogs out? Yeah, you can actually let the dogs out and clean the indoor enclosure, and also work on the outdoor enclosure at the same time. So that is why you will see a holding pen nearly in every single zoo. Sometimes you can see in there as a visitor, sometimes you can not, because most of the times they are at the backside of the habitat. Yeah, and something you will also see for carnivores, I put something like an electric fence on the top of it, because dogs are not great climbers, but they are great jumpers. So you would not want your wild dogs to be able to jump out of their enclosure and hunt your guests. So that is why I put something like this electric fence on top of it, so that our animals actually won't be able to escape their habitat. I also did steal something that I first saw from Caesar Creates. You see that in you also do see that in many zoos, when you have those chain link fences on the backside of the habitat, that you have something like fabric or plastic or something like that on the backside, just to cover it up a little bit, so that nobody from the outside can look into the habitat, and also your animals don't get too stressed by watching what happens outside. So that is something that I did in here as well, and I also did on the backside of the habitat, because we are going to have the fence with the electric things on top of it on the backside of the habitat as well. And from time to time you can also see that I changed the fence from the outside with the hedge that I built, so that we are going to have this as the outside wall, so that nobody from the outside can walk into our zoo or climb into the habitats or something like that. But that is something that I'm always doing off screen, so you probably won't see me build something like this on screen anytime. Yeah, here I was trying to build something like a wall for our visitors, where they can come close and watch the animals. Well, by using this technique with those plaster pieces, it's not plaster, it's concrete pieces. When you use stuff like this, your guests actually won't be able to walk all along the path and close to the wall, but they will stay a little bit further away from it. Yeah, and here I cut a little bit of the stuff out. Here you can see I have the fence all around the habitat and in front for our visitors. And here you can see me building those, putting those fabric things on the backside of our fence. So just using this African fabric, coloring it in a dark tone, and then put it all around the habitat. Which looks pretty cool in the end. Here you can see it. And that is also often used in zoos when you have another enclosure right next to it, so that the animals can see each other. Well, sure, they can hear and smell each other, but they can see each other. For the water that I had in here, I used the dirty water because I thought it would not look realistic when we have very clean water in here, so I decided to have some kind of dirty water in here. So the next thing that I did is putting down something like a sunshade for our guests, and also something like I don't know the correct word in English. To be fair, I don't know it in German as well. Yeah, but something like a wooden wall that comes in very handy, because when you are going to look into the indoor habitat of our African wild dogs, which are behind glass, it always depends on where the sun stands. You might not be able to look into it because the reflection of the sun on the windows. So I decided to have something like this in here that prevents the sun from shining directly into the glass, and our guests won't be able to see anything, so that our guests actually are able to see everything or take pictures of the animals without the reflection. So this is something, I don't know where I have seen that, but I have seen that before in some real life zoo. I just can't remember which zoo it was. Maybe you know which zoo it was, or know a zoo that does things like this as well. So you can leave a comment in the comment section to this video, so that I will know where things like this are being built. Also a little wooden roof on top of it. Yeah, and we are almost finished with it. So the next part was going to have a roof on top of our building. So I wanted the whole thing to not be too dark inside, so I decided to have some of these glass windows on top of it, and also make the building look a little bit more interesting. Because if you only have this this flat roof, it looks a little bit boring, and so I wanted to have something like a little bit more modern in here, because as I said in the beginning when we started to build this zoo, or at least in the second or third episode, that I want to combine the whole thing with those classic building style and the modern building style. So I do think that this building fits the park very well, and yeah, just let me know what you think, if you have the same opinion on it as me, or if you think quite different. In terms of lighting inside the building, those windows on top of it didn't do that much, because as you know already, the light in the game doesn't really move, so it doesn't matter what time it is, the sun always comes from the same side. So this is something that is very annoying to some of you guys. I know that sometimes it is also annoying to me, especially when you do something like screenshots and wanting to have a perfect picture for your YouTube thumbnail. If you didn't build your habitat on the right side, or didn't put the plants on the right side, you will have major problems to get the perfect lighting for your photo. So yeah. And to be completely honest, I think this is nothing that is going to be fixed in any update or something like that. I think this is going to stay that way forever. Here was building a little planter, because I thought it would be too plain and too boring if we have that wall all around the whole habitat, yeah. So I decided to have this planter right in between to break it up a little bit, give it a more interesting look, and yeah. So the thing I did next is something of my favorite part in building habitats in Planet Zoo: rock work. I could do this for hours, especially when you don't have that massive areas to do it, but have those slightly elevated habitats with a little bit of a hill in there and a little bit of a hill over there. And yeah, I love to do that because it looks so much better when, first of all, you color the structure of your habitat with the rock color or the dirt color, and then you put in lots of rocks. And yeah, you can already see how amazing it looks right now. I really love to do that. I also put some of those round-shaped rocks around our water area to make it look a little bit more artificial and not too natural, because I don't want to have quite natural habitats in there, because to be completely honest, you won't see a completely natural habitat in a zoo. They are all artificial, they are all man-made at some point. Yeah, and I think and I do hope that I did achieve this. I also wanted the habitat to be on different levels, so that you have this upper level where our visitors can see the animal almost from eye to eye, and then that you have this lower level with the water feature, and that the animals can also walk on the downside, on the lower level of the habitat. Not downside. Downside is something different, I think. Maybe I did a little bit too much with plants in here, but I thought this might be okay for African wild dogs, because usually they don't eat the grass and they don't destroy everything in their habitat. At least I think so, and I can't remember to have seen any habitat for African wild dogs where they did go ham and destroy everything in their habitat, and so that they only had dirt in there. So I think it would be okay like this. And here I wanted to build something like a shelter for the animals. I wanted this shelter to be on different levels, so as you can see, it should connect to the upper level so that the animals can actually sit and lay on top of it and have a rest on it. And I also wanted it to be on the lower level where they can hide a little bit. So maybe when it is raining or something, or snow or whatever, the animals can go downside. Once again, downside, can go on the lower level and have a nap in the shelter. Yeah, also did put some hay bedding on top of it, and the animals actually are using it. You will see it in the real-time part, so spoilers, that the animal will actually sit on top of it and also be able to lay down. Yeah, and here we are already in the real-time part. So I hope you guys did enjoy everything that we built in this episode. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this zoo already. if you did enjoy it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and also leave a comment. And I hope to see you guys in the next video, which is probably coming in 1 week. And yeah, let's be surprised which animal we are going to give a home in the next episode. So, bye guys, take care, see you next time.